Good afternoon to all of you. Well, before I came to know Moses, I've been in the industry for almost 14 years. Based on the way we were trained to do our business, I thought that's it for the insurance career. And I had my moments of closing big cases, and I thought to me that was a big case. I recall my best business done was about 9,000 premium a year, and that was exciting for me. But after so many years, I must admit, I've seen bigger ones done by other people, and I often wondering how they do it. What is it that is so different from them as compared to me? Of course, I attended many courses. I still remember that most of these courses talks about asking effective questions. It is through your asking of questions, knowing your client's needs, that you can position yourself for better business. But then again, I didn't do anything about it because I wasn't initiated into anything particularly that useful. Then I came upon Moses, and he taught me about what he has learned from his own personal experience in the last, if I could recall, 9-10 years of his journey, and then how he has put together a way to help others conduct the way he has conducted his business. So I thought, okay, I want to find out more. So we spent some time together, and then I discovered that he'd done it through this process called a discovery meeting with his client. And initially when I went through with him, I thought, okay, these are a good question, but I couldn't feel that difference, you know. Okay, they are good questions. I couldn't feel the difference, and I said, okay, never mind. Perhaps it's the way I work, and couldn't see the difference, couldn't feel the difference. But nevertheless, Moses was very patient with me, and we went through a few weeks of engagement, and I began to feel the difference. When Moses began to ask those questions on me as a role play, and then eventually when I tried to do it on him as a role play, I realized that it doesn't feel like selling something to somebody. It feels like trying to really sincerely and genuinely finding out from someone what really matters to you. So I begin to use that in my new career, to go out there and start implementing my discovery meeting. I realized I don't have any feeling of selling pressure. I didn't go to the person trying to figure out what can I sell you, you know. And to kind of cut it short, all the experience I have with all these people that I begin to implement my discovery meeting through the questions I ask, I realize I actually open them up. They are more open to me, telling me about their story, telling me about their future, telling me about what they are concerned with, a lot more than I could imagine. In fact, I recall I even make one of them almost cry, you know, when they tell me about what he's really concerned with. Now this opening brought me to a different level, that I could effectively put down in pen, in writing, what my client actually says about himself or herself. And when I bring this plan back to my client and my prospect, I also discovered that it allows me to open up even more opportunities, you know, with this prospect that I met. Eventually, this particular case came along. I did the discovery meeting, and I went back to him to discuss the second stage, the strategic design, and began to help him frame up his mind on what is important to him and prioritizing those needs. And then what happens is a placements of up to 22,000 so far in annual premium to implement those plans with him. And that to me personally is a breakthrough, because I would not have even imagined I could cold call a prospect, conduct a meeting like that, a discovery meeting, ask those questions I need to ask, and by the time I go back, I could eventually secure a 22,000 business. And I would believe by the time I could implement all that we have discussed, it was likely to exceed 30 or 40 eventually with this one client. And I realized that this is the power of the discovery meeting. This is the power of not wanting to deal with the product, but actually to spend enough time to understand your client and understand them well. And I realized even by doing that in the first 2 meetings, you could do it with such relaxation and joy. You're not selling. You're not going out there to try to convince someone to buy something, but you're out there to tell someone it is important that you begin to take stock of your life and begin to take steps to plan for your future. And that was enjoyable. That was fun. And I realized it is so much better to run my career this way than to do the way I did in the past. And lo and behold, I got another contact. So I went there and meet up with this new contact. And then I can't say that I could conduct the discovery meeting as smoothly as this new guy, but what I have learned in Moses training allows me to give him a report of what he tells me about himself. Yes, I managed to interject some question in between, but I must say most of the time he talks more than I could ask, but he tells me everything, and by the time I finished the report with him, for some nice reason, I think he is probably prepared to place a business with me. Now this happened to be a key man policy. He happened to be someone who has founded this company, and then he has attracted a lot of investors to put in the money. And they're going to launch the company sometime in 4th quarter of this year. And the valuation given to him by EDB board, which because the government is involved, is probably close to 150 million. So he looked at me and says, I need to put some key man policy in place. But I believe all these things don't happen by chance, and it's certainly somehow through the systematic training that I receive has a play in how I position myself, how I speak to this prospect, how I wrote those reports. And I'm grateful for the trainings that I receive, and the result shows it that I'm able to approach people and close big cases. Something that I would be at a loss in the past, how to close big cases, But I think now I have more or less a way to do it. And from the results so far, it tells me that I can close big cases by taking this approach. And I do have another contact that was established recently, and as it turns out, it's a cold call thing, so I have no idea who these people are. By the time I got the address to attend the meeting, I realized that it comes from a very prominent address. And by the time I arrived at the office, I realized this is a big company. This very very long-standing, renowned company in Singapore. And who are these people who wants to see me? They could have called anybody else, right? But they happened to call me, so they gave me a opportunity to present to the 2 directors, and we were sitting at the boardroom. First time I realized that in my career I need to present to a director in the boardroom for what I'm doing, insurance. I have a good 1.5 hours, and after I presented to them and shared with them, I realized another impact of my training. I'm able to, although it was unprepared, but somehow I was able to very quickly in a short time ready myself, introduce my question one after another, and able to record all the things that I need to record and probe those questions I need to probe. Although the setting was a bit different, I can't afford a paper to draw the chart or a whiteboard to draw the graph, but nevertheless the training allows me to on the spot figure out another way to do it. And after I've done that initial discovery meeting with them, I also understand that they are talking to several insurance company and probably have seen several other person. And after my follow-up with them, after I initially issued the report to them, I think that must have impressed them, because the secretary called me 2 days later and says, I'm trying to arrange a second meeting for you. So I realized I'm probably there. And given what they have shared with me, I think I have opportunity to close another 50 to 60,000 a year business. That will, of course, depends on how the second appointment turns out. But the thing is, I'm convinced my system now can allow me to close big cases. So I believe I still have a long way to go to be good in what I'm doing. So I encourage you all, if you want to go further in your career, if you believe that there's so much more out there that you can achieve, then develop yourself a structured way of approach in your business. And I believe the discovery meeting allows you to do that. And all the best to you in your career. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share.